Alright, Lesson 8, Overview. The purpose of this summary lesson are to review the key concepts presented with this course, prepare for a time of taking the final exam. Lesson should be approximately 15 minutes to complete. Review 1, Lesson 1, Emergency Management Overview. The lesson include the key topics of emergency management, definition, integrated emergency management principles, response authority, evolving doctrine. Emergency management definition. Emergency management is the managerial function charged with creating the framework within the communities to reduce the vulnerability, threats, hazards, and cope with disasters. Integrated emergency management. Integrated emergency management is more than a methodology, it's a culture to achieve the unity of effort and a way of thinking of emergency management as a joint enterprise. Emergency management principles. The emergency management principle following 8 principles being used to guide with the development of the doctrine of emergency management. Comprehensive, progressive, the risk-driven, integrated, collaborative, coordinated, flexible, and professional. Response authorities. Congressional Act of 1803 was the earliest to provide a disaster with a federal level of fire to state of the New Hampshire town. Defense of the Production Act of 1950 was the first comprehensive legislation pertaining to federal disaster relief. Executive Order 1042-7 emphasized federal disaster assistance supplemental to state, local, and private sector support. Executive Order 1212-7 merged many separate disaster-related responsibilities in a new federal emergency management agency. The Stafford Act and legislation focused on federal aid in emergency, and Post-Katrina Emergency Management Reform Act, or PCEMRA, includes a key provision accelerated assistance can be provided by FEMA in the absence of state request. Sandy Recovery Act of 2013 made channel the disaster assistance delivered in variety of programs authorized tribal governments to request declaration of an emergency major disaster without going through the state. An evolving doctrine. Alright, President Policy Directive Number 8, describe the national approach to preparedness, one and involve the community, whole community, include the individual business community with the faith-based organization, school, tribe, level of the government, working together to build and sustain prepared capabilities. The National Preparedness Goal outline the capabilities necessary to prevent and protect against, to mitigate, respond to, recover the threats ahead of pose the greater risk to the nation. The National Preparedness System outlines the appropriate resources of the tools achieving the preparedness goal. The National Preparedness Framework contains consistent high-level description coordinated with the structural necessary to build and sustain core capabilities within each of the 5 mission areas: prevention, protection, mitigation, response, and recovery. The National Incident Management System, or NIMS, provided with a template for the management of the incidents. And then we'll move on to the review lesson. Reviewing lesson 2 of emergency management partners. Effective action protect with the protects against mitigated, respond to, recover from a type of threats with the heads required with the active involvement of numerous partners. Community and citizens ensure self-preparedness, working together, enhance community resilience. Non-profit organization provides services and support with a response, specialized services, and individual disability except for the functional needs. Government, local government have the direct responsibility, safety of the people in the situation, accompanying resource requirements. Tribal territories are responsible for the coordinating resources to address actual potential incidents. State government and legal authorities of emergency response recovery. Federal government assists local and tribal state agencies in preparing, responding, and recovering the emergency disasters. Private sector organizations play a key role before, during, and after incident and are important in building resilient communities. Lesson 3, Emergency Management Key Components 1 of 2. Emergency management actions occur in pre-incident activity, incident activity, and post-incident activities. Pre-incident activities. Pre-incident activities include information sharing, threat, hazard identification, planning, training, and readiness exercises. Incident activities. Incident activities include life-saving missions, critical infrastructure support, protection. Post-incident activities. Post-incident activities are help people in the community recover to rebuild safer future. And then next to the 2. Lesson 3, Emergency Management Key Components 2 of 2. National Preparedness Goal identified mission areas which may be developed to sustain capability using a whole community approach to emergency management support. Execute the below the missions: prevention, protection, mitigation, response, and recovery. Prevention. The capability necessary to avoid, prevent, and stop threaten or actual act of terrorism defined in the Personal President Policy Directive Number 8. Term prevention refers to preventing imminent threats. Protection. The capabilities necessary to assure homeland against acts of terrorism, human caused, or natural disasters. Mitigation. The capabilities necessary to reduce loss of life, property, with lessening the impacts of disasters. Response. The capabilities necessary to save lives, protect property, environment, and meet basic human needs after incidents has occurred. And recovery. Capabilities necessary to assist communities affected by incident or to recover effectively. Lesson 4. Roles of key partners. Concept of the whole community describes the importance of each partner's role in emergency management. Local emergency manager. Local emergency managers have the responsibility to coordinate emergency management activities, include managing resources before, during, and after the major emergency disaster, conducting the activities related to the key components of emergency management, coordinating all stakeholders in the emergency management process. Individual citizens. Individual citizens who can take care of themselves, the family and neighbors contributed by freeing up the response resources to help them most in need. Communities and citizens. Volunteer, take direction, respond responsibly, alert warnings and other emergency public information. Volunteer organizations. Train, manage volunteer resources, identify shelter location, need supply, provide critical emergency service supplies to those needed, identify those who needs have not been met, and coordinate assistance. Private industry. Provide technical assistance, participate with the development and training exercise of the emergency plan, works with emergency management personnel before an emergency occurs with certain how they can help. Provide assistance, including volunteers, to support emergency management during an emergency throughout the recovery process. Tribal leader. Coordinate with the tribal resources, communicate with the tribal councils, community, negotiate mutual aid with the assistance agreements with the tribal and jurisdiction, request federal assistance with the Stafford Act, and electing to deal directly with the federal government. State emergency management. Coordinate with local government to meet with the emergency need of the stuff that are able to state and the federal resources to help local governments coordinate with the assistance and apply with the required use of the state federal resources effectively. Federal government. I think we just picked that one. Provides official support, technical assistance, information about materials, personal resources, and research. And FEMA provides technical financial assistance, state, tribal, local governments unupgraded with the communication warning system, operates emergency information coordinating center for the provide center and location for collection management of the disaster. Emergency information provides information to the president concerning matters of the national interest to help with the decision about disaster declarations. And then that's lesson 4. Alright, lesson 5, emergency operation. Emergency operation plan, key component of the emergency management program, establishes overall authority, roles, responsibility, function performed during the incident. The CPG describes the process of developing, maintaining emergency operation plan. The comprehensive planning guide. Planning process has 6 steps. Step 1, form and collaborate planning team. Step 1, form a collaborative planning team. The experience with the best practice of planning most effectively performed by the team. Step with the collaborating planning team include identifying core planning team, engaging the whole community. Alright, I guess that action was not working. Step 2, understand the situation. Effective risk management depends on the consistent comparison of the hazards for the particular just jurisdiction. Favor the planner start with a problem and solve with the process of the conduct the research with the analysis of the jurisdiction, threats, and hazard. Risk assessment helps the planning team decide with the hazard threats, meet special attention, which actions must be planned, what resources are likely to be needed. And step 2 is understand the situation, identify the threats, and assess the risks. Step 3, determine the goals and objectives. Operational priorities, specifically with the responding organization, accomplish with the achieve the desired end state with the operation goals. Objectives most carefully crafted and ensure the support accomplishing the plan and operational priorities. Step 3, determine the goals and objectives. Determine the operational priorities. Set the goals and objectives. Step 4. Step 4, plan development, and Step 5, plan preparation, review, and approval. The Step 4 and 5 process for developing plan with the jurisdiction have it reviewed and approved with the disseminated traditional plan and its 3 components: the basic plan, supporting annex, and threat hazard incident-specific annexes. Following the scene, present with the content format and a typical emergency operation. Step 4, plan and development, developing, analyzing course action, identifying resources, identifying information intelligence. Step 5, planning, preparation, approval, and writing a plan, reviewing the plan, and approving the disseminating the plan. And Step 6, Planning, implementation, maintenance. Evaluating effectiveness of the plan involved with a combination of training events with actual world incidents, real-world incidents to determine whether the goals, objective, of the decision, action, timed outline in the plan lead to successful response planning. Continuous process that does not stop. When the plan is published, plans should evolve as lessons learned, new information, insight are obtained when the priorities are adopted. Are updated. Plan 6, plan implementation, maintenance exercise of the plan, review and revise the maintain the plan. And that was lesson 5. Review lesson 6, emergency response coordinator. Important for the community for the planning profit determine and address the risk of the available to reach for the community's need for the mechanism, track, access, manage, sources of important reach for that may have been managed incident personnel of the emergency operation plan coordinator the personnel during response using incident command system. Incident command system is defined as or is an emergency management model command management coordinator with the response operation base feature principles have successful managing wide range emergencies from wildfires to terrorism. Use plan events, natural disaster, active terrorism, commonly organized structure that enables effective incident management, usually described in the direction control annex of the emergency operation plan. All right, review lesson 2, lesson 6, emergency response coordinating 2 any other important resource planning coordination concerning during an incident, how they work, and with the organization, some tools that they are, or as a multi-agency coordinated system, and we'll look at that real quick. Your multi-agency coordination system, or MAX, provides support coordination system with a policy level of decision of the incident command system structure, managing incident, and should be flexible, scalable to be efficient and effective. And an emergency operations center. An emergency operations center provides a central location agency representative as can coordinate and make decisions when managing emergency response. Alright, lesson 7, the function of emergency management program. 2 categories of emergency management activities. Emergency management core performed during an emergency. Direction, control, coordination, communication, population warning, resource management, information collection, analysis, dissemination, emergency public information, public protection, mass care, emergency assistance, healthcare, and medical services. Emergency management program functions are performed on a daily basis. Law, authority, threat, hazard analysis, planning, operation, communication, warning, direction, control, resource management, hazard mitigation, logistics, facilities, training, exercise, evaluation, corrective action, public education, information, and financial administration. Congratulations, you have completed the introduction of fundamental emergency as you work to prevent, protect against, mitigate, respond, receive the threats. As remember the partner and the whole community develop a confidence emergency plan, coordinate your response to the community is prepared. And then select this link to access a printable variable version of this course. And then we'll do that, actually. In the final exam, to receive the credit for the course you're going to take for the final exam, the EMP study program secure exam site, copy of the exam answers will not be accepted. Copies of the exam answer sheet will not be accepted to answer at least 75% of them correctly. Initial exam completion action secure. And we're going to save that file. And this completes the file. And this completes the tape of your ISO 230 Fundamental Emergency Management Summary.